All right, so before we get into the details of graphing secant and cosecant, I want you to see on your calculator what this graph is going to look like. So we don't have a secant button, right? So we have to put in 1 over cosine and my y equals. Now, a couple other things. When you graph a trig function, you got to remember to be in radian mode on your calculator. And you want to hit zoom and number 7, zoom trig. Okay? Now if I hit graph, there's my graph. Okay? This is what the secant graph looks like. Look, it's scoops, right? There are scoops up, scoops down, and there are some asymptotes. There must be some asymptotes right in here somewhere, right? So we're going to look at where those asymptotes fall in a moment. But on first glance, it's like, what does this have to do with cosine? We know that it's the reciprocal of cosine, but why does it not even look like cosine? Well, let me go in and show you what cosine looks like mapped on the same graph. So if we put in cosine, look at our graph. Look at that. So the minimums and the maximums of cosine, at each of the minimums and maximums, there is a scoop going the other direction. Do you see this? So with cosine, it starts up at 1, so the first scoop is at where y equals 1 on that y-axis. So hopefully that'll give you an idea. Now, what happens when we switch to cosecant? So I'm going to clear that one, and I want to show you cosecant on the same graph with secant. So if I put in 1 over sine of x, look at this. 1 over sine of x gives, or cosecant, is another set of scoops, isn't it? But it's set a little further over, isn't it? Just a little set further over. And let's put on the sine graph on this. I'm going to take off the cosine, so I'm going to unhighlight this one. So that doesn't graph. Now let's just put in sine of x, and look at this, how they correspond. So it's the same idea. At the peaks, the maximums and the minimums, there are scoops, whether it's sine or cosine. So we're going to investigate where are the asymptotes and where do these scoops exist, and make sure we catch the difference between the secant and the cosecant. All right. So what we're going to do is take our good old unit circle and find those values for secant, all right, as we go around the unit circle. So we're going to start over here at negative pi, okay, negative pi. And remember, secant is r over x, isn't it? R over x, so it's 1 over x. So 1 over negative 1 is negative 1. At negative 3 pi over 4 right here, it's 1 over negative square root of 2 over 2, which means it's going to be 2 over the square root of 2. Now, if we put that in our calculator, I get negative 1.41. Right here, at negative pi over 2, we get 1 over 0, so this is undefined. Negative pi over 4, when I reciprocate this, it's going to be positive this time, but it's still 1.41. At 0, 1 over 1 is 1. Pi over 4, here we go, it's 1.14, or 1.41 again. Pi over 2, it's 1 over 0, so again, we're undefined. And then you can see the pattern as it emerges here. This is going to be negative 1.41. It's going to be negative 1. It'll be negative 1.41, undefined, and then we keep on going, right? And 1. Okay, so there's our points. So let's put this together on our graph. All right, so if I mark my x-axis, we're going to go at negative pi over 2, and these are quarters in here, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and then there's pi, and this would be 3 pi over 2, 7 pi over 4, and then 2 pi. Okay, now notice where our asymptotes are. They are where it's undefined, right? So let's see, we have asymptotes at negative pi over 2, positive pi over 2, and then 3 pi over 2. All right, so on y-axis we need 1 and 2, negative 1, negative 2. Okay, let's begin to build this. So at negative pi, we're at negative 1. At negative 3/4 of a pi, we're at negative 4.1. All right, and then we jump over negative pi over 4. I'm at positive 1.41, then 1, and positive 1.41, undefined, and then we come back down. 1, undefined, jump up. All right, so if I begin to connect my points, you're going to see what repeats on this graph. And this is what we saw in our calculator, right? This is what we saw. Now, when you talk about a period with the secant, you have to include one up and one down scoop. It's not just one scoop, okay, because they're not identical. So what we use as our period is this right here, from negative pi over 2 to positive 3 pi over 2. So this is really a same period as our regular cosine of 2 pi. All right, so let's look at these values down here. So our period, we just said, is 2 pi. It's the same as cosine, right? Same as cosine. Now, range and domain are kind of limited, right? So let's do our vertical asymptotes because that's going to connect to our domain. So our vertical asymptotes are going to be at, let's see, take our positive one, pi over 2 plus n. Now, we don't say 2 pi because I want you to notice that within 2 pi right here, there's another asymptote in the middle, right? So instead of saying n times the period, we do n times half the period. So in this scenario, it would be pi. Okay, so make yourself a note, n times half the period. And it's going to be true on this one as well, so keep that in mind. All right, so my domain would be all real except where x is pi over 2 plus n pi. Now range, okay, goes from negative infinity to negative 1, and then we put a bracket because there is a point at negative 1, and then it jumps over to positive 1 to positive infinity. All right? Now let's do the same thing, but this time finding our cosecant. So let's come back up here and use our unit circle to find our points, okay? Alrighty, let's look at this. So it's 1 over, remember it's 1 over y. So what are we going to get? At negative pi, 1 over y, 1 over 0 is undefined. Negative 3 pi over 4, that's going to be that negative 1.41. Negative pi over 2 is going to be 1 over negative 1, so it's negative 1. At pi over 4, negative pi over 4, we're going to be at negative 1.41. At 0, it's going to be undefined. Pi over 2, it's a positive 1.41. At pi over 2, it's going to be 1. 3 pi over 2, it's positive 1.41. Pi, we're back to 0, undefined. And then it just kind of keeps repeating itself, doesn't it? All right, so let's take our unit circle off, and let's graph this guy. So negative pi over 2, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. And again, we need 1, and we need 2, negative 1, negative 2. All right, asymptotes. If I put in my asymptotes, I have an asymptote at negative pi. I have an asymptote at 0. I have an asymptote at pi. And then another one at 2 pi. Okay. And then down here, it's going to be the bottom scoop up here. And then it's repeating, isn't it? Okay, so notice it's just shifted a little bit, but again, the period has to be an up scoop and a down scoop. And so that distance on this one is easy to see. It's the period of 2 pi, right? So as we fill in this down here, it's the 2 pi, and it's the same as sine of x. No big deal. All right, asymptotes. 0 plus n times half a pi, half a period, which would be n pi, right? That means our domain is then going to be all reals except where x is equal to n pi. Now, keep in mind that there's all these x values over here that I could calculate, and this little scoop is going to get closer to that asymptote. So there are other values. We're just not going to do every single number. So look at our range. Isn't it the same as the range of the cosecant? It's cutting off at -1. It's going from negative infinity to -1, and then it's jumping up to +1 to positive infinity. Okay, so these are the basic characteristics of our cosecant and our secant graphs. And as we continue our lessons, we're going to focus on those transformations.